Okay, this video is for the Walther PPX pistol specifically, although we'll work, some of this instruction will work on many other pistols and types. So what we're going to talk about right now is the dry practice sequence. So we know about the the grip and the stance and the trigger press, the sight picture, the sight alignment, and the follow through. What we're going to work that into is a dry practice sequence for drawing and firing. So first of all, we're going to cover the draw. Now I'm going to insert my pistol into my holster. I want you to understand that I always put it in slow so I know what, I can feel if something's going wrong with the pistol so I don't, have it accidentally discharge in my holster. Because on the Walther PPX, there's no safety. Do not pull the trigger. That's the safety. The only other thing that you can do to keep it from firing is to actually press your finger on the backside of the hammer so that when it does fire, and it will fire if you press the trigger or something else presses the trigger, it won't actually discharge the round. I've tested this one, and it has a real low incidence of firing around. Obviously, you wouldn't point it at anybody and you wouldn't intentionally do it, but this is just a safety feature to keep you from hurting yourself when you're inserting into a holster. You're going to gingerly go in there anyway, but you're going to be able to feel if something weird is going on, that trigger's being pressed. So I go into the holster. Now the draw has about 4 different steps to it. The first step is to establish a firing grip on the pistol, not just like a little whatever. You want a full firing grip on the pistol. That way, if you're all the way out, that is the proper grip that you want on it. So the draw sequence starts with that. The second step is to, the first step is to establish the grip and to locate your non-shooting hand. We teach to locate up here because it will become useful in the rest of the presentation sequence when you're aligning the pistol with the target, so you can get your secondary hand from here up onto your pistol while you're doing that. So that's step number 3. But step number 1 is to get it in place. That way it's not out here where you can shoot it and you're drawing in front of it. We've located this so it's in one location. So step 1, step 2 would be to pull the gun from the holster. Step 3 is basically to rotate it. Step 4 is to punch it toward the target. Step 4 has 3 different things going on. So we're back to the holster. Step 1, establish firing grip. Step 2 is to pull it from the holster straight up. Step 3 is to rotate, and I rotate it to a firing position in the sense of it's level. It's pointed at what's in front of me that I would be, facing when in downrange, the safe direction that I'm facing when I draw, so that I'm pointed at the target. That's why it's level, not up or down. Another reason for that is I punch it toward the target, the sights are going to come up underneath my eyeball. And I'm looking at the target, and my sights come from underneath and are aligned with the target when I get up to level, because it's level and I'm keeping it straight, back and forth, right and left. So that sequence starts with a firing grip. Step 2 being to pull the gun. We have located this hand, rotate, and punch toward the target. When I'm punching toward the target, I am locating my pistol, or locating my secondary, my support hand onto the pistol, rotating it into position, so that when I come to full extension, I have a complete firing grip on the gun with both hands. So the gun is now up and aligned with my eyes and in between me and the target. And that is your dry practice sequence for the draw. So with dry practice, obviously we get all the ammunition out of the way, out of the room and everything, so that we're not in a position of accidentally discharging because we picked up a magazine that had live ammunition in it or something. So the skills for this, or the dry practice techniques and the sequence for the shooting, or the dry practice for shooting and drawing, is like this. We establish our grip, we rotate, we punch the sights, the gun towards the target, and we align our sights on whatever we've picked as a target. We press the trigger fully to the rear, nice and smooth. We stack the pressure. No movement in the sights under the pistol dry firing, because if it moved a little bit, that's what we're looking for. If it moves, then our shot's going to be off. So we want to smoothly press that trigger to the rear and learn how to do that without disturbing the sights on the pistol or disturbing the pistol itself. So we've done that. I keep the pressure on the trigger to teach myself the reset. Now I come over here and I have to manually cock the gun because, you know, no live ammunition. Cock it, let it go. Then I can put my support hand back onto the pistol. So then from there, I've got a full grip on the gun, and intentionally, I've still got the pressure on the trigger. I let off and let it reset. Then I get back to the trigger, and then I can align my sights, press the trigger again smoothly, not have the gun move. I can do this as many times as necessary to practice, or as few times as necessary, because the skills that we're looking here for are both the dry practice and not disturbing the sights, and secondarily, the other thing that we're looking for is to get that draw sequence smoothed down, and when you are at full extension, the gun is naturally and properly aligned with the target, with the sights in your view, and everything is aligned actually on the target. You're correct there. You're not going to get this the first time around. You're not going to get this the first 100 times around. You're going to get it when you've gotten 1,000+ draws here and you're paying attention and you're doing this continually. Now your reholstering sequence, I keep forgetting to do this, but you want to learn to put your thumb on the back of the gun or the pistol on the PPX. That way you can feel what's going on with the hammer. So I've cocked this thing again because I dry fired it. Now it's cocked. It's ready to actually be fired in a dry sense. I can put my finger on my thumb on the back of this, and I can slowly insert this into the holster. My finger's outside the trigger guard. If anything, we're pressing that, it will keep it from firing. It may not keep the hammer from dropping, but it will keep the hammer from having the energy to actually fire the pistol. So the reholstering is not, there's no race to reholster. There may be a race to get it out of the holster, but there's no race to reholster. Just do that slow. You can look down into the holster while you're doing it. Other people teach not to look at the holster. Whatever you do, do it slow. Otherwise, you end up, I just see people that even have holster companies just jamming that gun in there. And they're, you know, they got a Glock or something. There's no way to keep that thing from firing. If there's anything in there, they wouldn't be able to feel it at that speed. You can't just stop. But if you're going slow, you can feel, oh, there's something in there. So you pull it out, pull whatever it is, look in there, get it, whatever it is, out, and you put it back in. So your dry practice sequence is that bang, reset, bang, reset, bang, right? And when you're done, you pull it back into your work zone, finger off the trigger, and you can pull it back, and it's a backwards, just it's identical to the draw sequence, but it's backwards. It's just in reverse, right? And so nice and smooth in there. And you do want to get that habit of getting that thumb on the back of there. It may save, you know, your life. It may save your embarrassment. But either way, in a lot of pain and suffering. So that's something that you're going to want to really practice, and practice it right from the beginning. Next video will be on skills practice for reloads.